All right. It says you're in Ohio. Your son is deaf, hard of hearing, ADHD, ODD. The school system has given you a refusal to evaluate based upon his academic performance and grades. He's in kindergarten, but he's gifted. His scores were above kindergarten level on the first day of school, so his performance and grades would be in good standing given that he tested out of this grade already. But his standardized scores have gone down since that first day. They still refuse because it's still above average. Now, your question is that he wears hearing aids, and you provided your personal FM system for them to use, which is a mic that connects to his hearing aids that the teachers wear, and very common in situations like that. You told them orally and in writing that this is incorrect, provided the manual. An audiologist came in and explained that that's incorrect. The principal called the manufacturer and checked their website. Because they accused you of recording, that it was really a recording device. Yet they still wouldn't allow the teacher to use it, depriving my son of necessary assistive technology prescribed by his doctor. Okay, you submitted a formal complaint to the board. Nothing came of it. They refused to acknowledge the damage she has caused our son or even apologize. Now, this is where your situation right now, okay, I can't foresee the future with regards to whether or not your child requires specialized instruction, requiring an IEP at this moment. But it doesn't sound like your child requires specialized instruction that would require an IEP, even though it appears that your son has a qualifying disability. There's a difference. See, you got to have both in order to qualify for the IEP. A qualifying disability and be in need of specialized instruction. Now, is that necessarily a blocker? Can your child progress year to year and still need an IEP? Yes, but that would require the need for specialized instruction. And as of right now, as a kindergartner or moving on to the first grade, your child's scores are above average. They may be slipping, but they're still above average. And your child's classified as gifted. So at that point, where is the real problem? Well, the real problem is equal access. The real problem is the accommodations. That's a 504 issue. All right. So in that way, especially if you have a script and they're not following it because they are inventing whatever, then at that point, yes, it becomes a discriminatory issue because your son has a disability and requires the FM system in order to have equal access to, like his peers. And of course, they could sit there and say, no, look at his grades, look at his performance. And so therefore, it's not impacting him in a negative way inside of his educational setting. That could be an argument, but at the same time, under 504, because he has a condition that impacts major life functions, then at that point, it becomes a different kind of criteria. This is something that is necessitated. It is something that's required. It is recommended by his doctors. It is something that they should be able to provide to him through a 504. And then you take sort of a wait and see approach. Okay. But I don't necessarily believe at this point, let's say you came to me, I would not recommend that you pursue the IEP at this point, just simply because it sounds like to me that what your child requires you can obtain through a 504 and then later revisit that if necessary, okay, as far as an IEP. But once again, the standard is whether or not your child requires that specialized instruction. And then if your child, the 504, let's say your child has a 504, and let's say in the future your child does in fact require specialized instruction, then the 504 accommodations and supports would meld into that IEP. But the 504 is a good first step, and especially to address the issue that you're currently having.